did you visiting with Dr. Arbo and Loftin here at Texags.com, the president of Texas A&M University, a couple more. In your 21-point analysis, how much did the weight of Aggie, we don't call it Aggie Nation around here, but Aggie Land, the fans, they wanted this to happen, and you probably were in line to get more season ticket holders and more donations had you gone in the other route. I know and you're even an Aggie yourself.
There were several factors that related to that. Mm-hmm. I'll give you one in particular. Attendance. Let's face it, if we were playing a school from the West Coast here at Texas A&M Kyle Field, how many we have from out of town coming here?
From Iowa State, not many.
Well, from Washington State or Berkeley.
Right. From LSU.
Alabama, LSU, a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
We would sell Kyle Field out for every conference game probably if we played in the SEC.
Yes, sir.
So that's a piece of that's financial, a piece of it just basically saying it's nice to have Kyle Field full of people. Okay, I hate to see a camera pan across Kyle Field and see empty seats out there. Okay, I hate to see that. And so that was a factor certainly in our thinking here is what we see in Kyle Field. We also thought a lot about the fans. Understand this, that our connectivity to the SEC, I wanted to maintain that in a very confidential way. It was leaked out by people who weren't part of Texas A&M's family here that was going on, not by the SEC at all. And so both of us felt it was important not to do that, not because we wanted to hide anything, because I didn't want this to happen. Once people have been given an opportunity they see great value in, it's snatched away, obviously they're going to be angry about that. I mean, I don't blame people for being passionate. We're Aggies, okay? We're all passionate about what we are. And I can understand somebody who thought they had a very nice thing for the future, having it taken back at the last minute. Their reaction's very, very angry. And I accept that, okay? Mm-hmm. People are mad at me. I won't share with you some of the emails I got. They were fairly unprintable, okay? Yeah. That's all right. The point is, I think, as people sit back and say, okay, what's still best for Texas A&M? Let's figure this thing out here. We are going to be, for the first time, maybe ever, financially on a par with schools like Texas and OU in this conference right now. Think about that a minute.
Yeah.
Okay. We have built enormous goodwill for Texas A&M among several institutions here who understand that we wanted to be part of a solution that we're joining in, not simply going off independently and doing something by ourselves. Those are all valuable things for us to have at hand. And again, if it hadn't worked out, we'd have seen what would happen with our board making a decision about that. But at the moment, on Monday, when it was necessary to make a decision, the decision was no decision. We'll stay right where we are, basically, in the Big 12 with a reduced number of members, because we felt it was going to be the right thing for Texas A&M.
Yeah. Well, how surprised are you in the love affair with the SEC and Aggies being so quick to end, or at least go ahead and take the chance of ending the century-old rivalry with the Texas Longhorns for quote-unquote greener pastures out east?
Well, watching my email, it was certainly trending very heavy towards the SEC, but there were a number of people who thought the Pac-10 offered a lot, and that offer really would be things like academic prestige. That's not measurable in some respects, but it does connect to the value of our degree here when you come out of here. So think about that a month. That's out there as an intangible criterion you can't ignore.
Yeah.
That was in my factors as well, one of those factors I mentioned to you earlier. That was out there. And we had a number of our very, very strong supporters here at the university saying that they were concerned about the perception of the SEC, that the SEC has issues with compliance, issues with recruiting. I pointed out, of course, that USC got just one of the biggest hits the NCAA has rolled out in the last several years recently. Okay, that tells you something out there. I talked to my coaches a lot, by the way.
You did consult with your coaches?
I talked specifically with Coach Sherman, Coach Turgeon, and Coach Blair about this. And I got some information I didn't think about out of them. There's some useful things out of them about how they go about recruiting and what's important to a recruit, how they felt about these conferences, how they felt about the compliance issues, things like that. Those are all very valuable things to me. So it wasn't just my making my mind up on no data here.
Yeah.
I was talking to the guys who do this day in and day out, and I appreciated their being very frank with me and giving me exactly what they thought. But every case, what they said was this: whatever the university decides to do, Dr. Loftin, we'll do the very best we can possibly do with our teams. I appreciated that. They gave me their advice. They said, if you don't want to take it, or if it doesn't weigh against enough other advice to do the decision this way, we're going to still be doing our job to the utmost we can do it. And I appreciate that attitude on their part. They all told me the same thing.
You've got a window of opportunity here where a lot of people are threatening you and threatening to jump off the ship. You know, they've been Aggies for 5 generations in their family, and they're threatening to end it, whether that's donations or season tickets. There's a lot of threats going on our website, and I'm sure in your email inbox and 12th Man and all the way up and down the line. Is there a plan in place to try to restore the perceived trust, in you and your leadership, Bill Byrne, and all the way down through the athletic department?
Again, I've told people, take a deep breath. Look at the facts. Look at the outcomes here. I mean, you can argue all day about what led up to these outcomes. Look at the pure outcomes here and the value to our university. Now, we've been playing schools like Baylor and TU for a very long time. Okay. Now, we could play them in the future if we weren't in the same conference. True, but think about the issue here. Have we gone to the Pac-16, or whatever they would call it, a 9-game conference? Okay. Arkansas is a 9-year commitment left on that contract. Okay. That means 2 games left in your schedule are non-conference games and not committed to. That's not very much leeway to deal with playing, for example, Texas and Baylor or whoever you want to play, or Texas Tech. That's a problem, you see. In the new Big 12, think about that too. We're going to be a non-divisional conference, 9 games, 9 conference games. Arkansas is still there. We got 2 left, okay? So that's out there in my mind too. That was a criterion in my analysis too, is how we play this out. With the SEC, we had 2 divisions. We'd have played 8 conference games. Different matter, you see. So those are all pieces of it.
Yeah.
The bottom line is there was no 100% winner in this situation, my analysis. But you could certainly see the trends here. But to the fans, I would say this. Give it a little time. Think it through a little bit. Think what Texas A&M has achieved here in this situation. We are preserving traditional rivalries we've valued for a long time. We're going to more than double our income, no matter what that would happen anyway. That's going to happen. We're going to be able to keep under control the travel schedules of our athletes here. We're going to have the resources to help them even more than we have in the past be successful academically here at Texas A&M. Those are all very positive things for us to do. And I'm convinced, that we have achieved the best we can out of this particular circumstance here. But I want to tell you this. I wanted this to take place over much more time, where we could have had the dialogues required to bring people along, at least give them a chance to be heard. We weren't given the luxury of that. Texas A&M took more time. Well, again, by Monday afternoon, it became clear that the only way, the one option was going to remain is if all the schools said we're going to stay in. And we took a deep breath and said, okay, let's look at the facts we have right now. It was the right decision at the right time to sit there and say, let's stay with the Big 12 and join our brethren out there, the other 9 schools, to say the same thing. If I'd waited longer, that would have destabilized and probably precluded that whole option from happening. So we had to make a decision on Monday afternoon, in my opinion. I didn't want to do it then, but other schools were going to make that very clear. It was going to happen.